in a suburb near Minneapolis, Minnesota, where protests erupted overnight in response to Brooklyn Center police shooting and killing 20-year-old Daunte Wright. Now, Brooklyn Center, again, is a suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota, the very same city that is the epicenter of the Derek Chauvin trial, the police officer who shot and killed George Floyd. According to Minneapolis Public Radio, Daunte Wright, who was identified by family members, was stopped by police at around 2 p.m. as he was driving in a residential neighborhood. Brooklyn Center Police said in a statement that officers discovered a, quote, outstanding warrant and tried to take him into custody. When he got back into his car, an officer shot Wright, who managed to drive off but crashed into another vehicle several blocks away. He was declared dead at the scene. Katie Wright, the mother of Daunte Wright, spoke to reporters about what she knew of her son's death at the hands of police officers. Let's take a listen in.
And Daunte said, why? And he said, we'll explain to you when you get out of the car. So I heard the phone get either put on the dashboard or dropped. And I heard scuffling, and I heard the police officer say, Daunte, don't run. And then the other officer said, put the phone down, and hung it up. And then a minute later, I called, and his girlfriend answered, which was the passenger in the car, and said that he'd been shot. And she put it on the driver's side, and my son was laying there lifeless. And then I said, where are you? And she said, I don't know. And the other officer said, hang up the phone. She hung up the phone, and I called 911 to find out where they were. Then I heard the police officer.
Now, the National Guard has been deployed in response to all the protests to, quote unquote, protect the Brooklyn Center Police Department, which was the center of the protest last night. Rebecca and James, it is something about this time of year. It seems like police officers, here we are again, a year later,
in the
same city, basically.
I didn't want to, when I did see the story, I'm like, wow, we have to start off our show discussing something that we've been dealing with already, that we always seem to deal with, that we always seem to run back into, that we always seem to
like clockwork.
It's ridiculous. And I couldn't read the full story because I already knew. You read it like it was something we read before, because it is. You read it like this is something that we covered before, like this was one of our scripts or our readers that we read before, because it actually is. This keeps on happening. And I know people are going to say somewhere down the line, we know what we're going to get. We know what we're going to get. We're going to get the fact that people are saying, hey, he was resisting arrest. Hey, he was running. Hey, so that means that the officer had to kill him. So I don't know. I didn't want to read much on social media about it. I already saw the people taking to the streets. Mind you, this is a city that's already dealing with George Floyd and the trial right now. And so this is not new to them either. They're out there. They're like, okay, listen, we're ready for this. We're going to burn this city down for every time they take a life. Every single time they take a life. And I have no issue with that. But it's when does it stop? This is the same question that we ask all the time. When will it stop? Will it ever stop? Like, what do we have to do?
It's protests aren't enough, but the protests are understandable. The rioting doesn't seem to get their attention, but the rioting is understandable. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm not going to sit here and complain or cry or badmouth or talk down about people who are in the center of that terror, and their expression of their anger turns into rioting. You shouldn't have killed the man, right? A traffic stop and an arrest warrant should not end with someone's life being taken. But over and over and over again, we see that that's the case. And James, it's like clockwork, man. It's like every year. It happens all year long, but there's something about going into the spring and the summer. It's almost like clockwork. You can almost guarantee these police officers are going to start killing people every single year. Here we are again.
Yeah, it's starting already. May, June, July. Those are the 3 months. So I really have nothing to say about it, bro. It's just like another Monday, another black man shot.
Wow.
Exactly.
It should not be so normal. Like
it should.
That it like
shouldn't
because it's the truth. You're saying like you have nothing to say about it, but it's because we've said it all before, and it shouldn't be as simple as Monday rolling back around, and it's like another day, another dollar, another black man shot. We got to work again. Right. We got to desensitize ourselves to this. We got to shut ourselves down in the next 3 days, and then be back on this after that. So it's
right. And that's the thing. It's like we have said it. There's no more analysis that needs to take place. Police officers kill us. And anybody who can't admit that or observe that or testify to that, you don't want to see it. It is part and parcel of the black experience in this country. You get pulled over by the police. Hell, you don't even got to be pulled over. You could be sleeping in your house. Mm-hmm. And they come in, no knock warrants, and they kill you.
Yes.
And it's because there's a level of and again, I'm getting ready to say the same thing. You could listen to every single episode of mine over the last 6 years, and it's the same analysis. They have dehumanized black people in this country.
Yeah.
They have dehumanized us, and they are so much quicker to pull the trigger on us. Now, this isn't to say, because one of the worst videos I ever saw of a police shooting was the young man, and his name escapes me because there's so many, but this was a white man who was on his knees in a hotel lobby, pleading for his life, begging, and they killed him anyway. They executed. The man was on his hands and knees. So this isn't to say the cops aren't killing white folks. I'm saying white folks, y'all should be just as mad as us because they would kill you just like they would kill us, but they're quicker to kill us because of the history of dehumanizing black lives in this country. They have no qualm. They have no hesitation, no reservation. And now this 20-year-old young man is dead.
Yeah.
Young man.
Because he went back to his vehicle.
Daniel Shaver. Daniel Shaver is the name of the white man who was killed in that hotel hallway. And it's just one of the most. It's a police state. Rebecca, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I put his name right. It came to me. Daniel Shaver. We live in a police state where they will execute you on your hands and your knees. But if you're a black person, they'll execute you while you sleep. Go ahead, Rebecca.
And then they'll execute you while you just go back to your car. They'll execute you while you're asking for help. They don't care. They just do not care. And the name that we got to talk about now and today is all these names. Like, you said there were so many, and especially with the black ones, like we there's so many names, right?
Yeah.
They become hashtags. Some that didn't even get to make it there before hashtags were a thing. So today's name is Daunte Wright. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, we will have another name because it's just like they don't care. This boy was 20 years old. 20 years old.
No threat, no gun.
His mother had to listen to him take his last breath. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, understand, there is trauma all around here. And I know that when people hear, see, and watch it, that's why I could not, I saw the story. I knew that we had to cover it this morning, but I could not go in depth yesterday evening, or I wasn't going to sleep. I wasn't going to sleep. This is going to be something that kept me up. You know what I mean? Like if we go into it and we delve into it, and I know that we have to because it's our job, but I had to make sure that I was able to get on today's show and not be so triggered. But imagine the mother that had to get on that interview and talk about that. And we don't know this little boy, but the world is about to know him. And it sucks that this has to be the way that it goes. And see, it's making me emotional because it just is it's just too much. It's too much. It's a trigger for us. It's trauma to the parents. It's trauma to parents who already had to deal with this and watch this again and have to sit down and create and tell the story correctly because they know if it's up to the cops, the story won't be told correctly.